right, to kick everything off the ground and get people really, really geared, because this is very exciting. Now, you may remember about back in November, I did a show where we featured this gentleman, but it was a recording that I had to do with him separately, and then come and air it for the sake of just helping people to know all about this gentleman. But he wasn't on the show. But it was really awesome because the feedback was still insane.
It was.
And even after this, the listenership, the levels of listeners that I've had going to the page to listen to the show has been quite good on the podcast. But today, it's really great because today I have the man in the flesh. Tuesday we had a thinking environment, like I say, overwhelming. The venue was too small. We had to turn people back. I felt bad about that. But then it's going to be exciting because those of you tuned in and listening, this Saturday it's happening. So you got to know that this gentleman we're featuring is going to be on stage on Saturday at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. So we'll be giving you more details as we go, but it's 10 hours. But you have to confirm your seat because we can't just allow anybody to come because we really want to be fair. So we'll be giving you a number, my number, in which you can send a message via WhatsApp or SMS to confirm your space and give your full names. Don't send a message and say, so what was it about again? No, listen to the show and then I'll name my number and then you send a message. Don't call, send a message. Thank you. So the gentleman that's coming on the show is a former professional athlete turned entrepreneur. The fields in which he specializes are marketing, sales, networking, and human behavior. Shortly after working as an international business strategist and speaker for some of the world's leading business coaches, he pioneered a company into Africa and globally that has become a billion-dollar brand in just 6 years. 2 short years later, he became a 7-figure earner and now mentors and teaches over 10,000 entrepreneurs around the world, not just in Africa, how they can live a life by design, or should we say lifestyle by design. And this gentleman, what's amazing is that he's actually 29. So he'll be turning 30 this year. And he'll tell us which month. But basically, he's 29. So by all definitions, he's youth. By youth.
Yes.
Youth. In Zambia, he'd be like the right age to be a kata. Sorry to bring that up. I just had to. I had to. Because that's what we seem to be doing with the youth. We seem to just be throwing them around as people that just go and make noise when they can be so amazing. And we've featured a number of very young people that have done wonders. But today it's just a pleasure to bring a gentleman all the way from South Africa who is doing great things. So a big ups, have we got our voice note?
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, man. So let's put it together to welcome my main man, Oliver Grimbley. Oliver, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. Honored to be on the show.
So we got the loud applause just to do its thing. Thank you, people. Thank you, people. Oliver, welcome to the show. Welcome to Prosperity Insights.
Thanks, Rev.
Yeah, you're not a stranger here. And for those of you joining us by Mingletainment, thanks for coming through as always. And we will be looking forward to your contributions as well as those who will be calling. So as usual, as per tradition of our show, you know that we get the calls coming in on the second half of the show, and that's 15th minute of that second half. So second half. So right now, Oliver, let's start right now. Who is Oliver Grimbley?
I am that I am. I think I said that in the last interview. No, I'm no one different to anyone I think listening to this call. That's the first thing I'd like to say. I grew up in Johannesburg, South Africa. Went to a pretty normal school, government school. But I just had big dreams, and I think that's the difference right there is, we're all born with dreams. Some die to them and others realize them. And I just, from a young age, knew that I was going to be one that was going to realize them. And from here, I guess you can ask some questions I share.
Yeah, let's go for it because I know your story so well. A number of people tuned in and listened to the podcast. So let's pick it up from there. Let's start from when you just discovered your gift for tennis. You're in school and then you discover you got this gift. But a gift or a talent is nothing without work. Narrate the story of how you went from that to a scholarship in the US at a prestigious tennis. Is it tennis or athlete university?
Yeah. So you want the story?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Yeah, I mean, I was one of those kids at school that was always left at school till, the latest hours. My parents would just leave me there. So, I ended up doing whatever was available. I won't even lie, I probably tried ballet for all I know. I literally just did everything. So I played a bit of all sports. But I'll never forget at about the age of 16, I came back home, my dad had sold my motocross bike, and I was distraught, as you could imagine. The bike was just gone, I'm crying. And my dad, I had an accident, so my dad didn't want me to ride anymore. And I thought, well, what do I do now? And I picked up an old tennis racket in the house, and I said to, my dad, do you mind sending me for some lessons? And it started out with just 3 lessons a week. But, I fell in love with the sport, and the coach said, to my dad, this kid has a lot of potential. And I just kept playing more and more and more. And, eventually I started to think maybe this could end up being something. And just started training harder and harder and harder. I still stayed in school. I never got to go to a home school. I only played my first national tournament when I was probably late 16, almost 17 years old. Playing against guys that have been playing since they were like, single digits, 6, 7, 8 years old. And I'll be honest, got my ass kicked, in the beginning, but just kept persisting, training hard. When I was 18, I said to my dad, just give me a year, give me a year. I don't want to go to university and follow the traditional path. I'm a big believer, if you follow your heart and you trust in it, it has wisdom that the mind doesn't, The heart can feel faster than the mind can think. Yeah. And I live by that. And what I did is I trained that year, and I believe if you work 10 times harder, in fact I know because I've done this,
yes, of course.
If you work 10 times harder,
proof of it.
Yeah, if you work 10 times harder, then you can 10x the results, and you can shorten the time frame. So at the beginning of that gap year, I just went in there. I was the first person to arrive, the last person to leave. I was 100% focused. I trained every single day, even my birthday. I didn't take a day off, And by the end of the year in the academy, I had most improved player of the year, and managed to qualify for the main draw of the South African Open, which was an incredible achievement, and get a ranking that then even still made it a little difficult to get the scholarship into the US. College tennis in America is very high level of sports, just below the professional level, and I wanted to get onto a good college tennis team so I could keep the dream alive.
Correct.
And the next step was to actually get a recruiting agency to make videos, which they could then send to these schools.
Correct.
And, Dad said, guess what? Not paying for it, figure it out. And, I was bleak. But again, I could have given up, but I just decided, I've got to figure something out. There has to be a way. After a few days, I came up with an idea to actually make a video of myself playing tennis. I called up a friend of mine. I said, hey, bro, can I meet you at the court? I took an old Nokia. I don't even know which model it was. Definitely not a high megapixel camera. And I literally balanced this phone on the net pole. Could have fell off, all I know, and just started hitting balls. I said on the video, hey guys, my name's Oliver. I have a dream to play college tennis. I hope you enjoy this video. And I just went out there and I hit balls. I think I made it over 2 different days. So halfway in the video, there's sun, the other half there isn't. It was terrible, but it was all I could do. I even edited it myself.
You did what you could with the resources you had.
Exactly.
I love that.
And I
just stop from where you are with what you have.
Yeah, and I just took the video, uploaded it on YouTube. It's there to this day. You can go YouTube, Oliver Grimley Tennis 2007. It is shocking. You can even hear a bulldozer knocking a house down in the background. But you know what? That's what I could do. And what I did is I went online and I started searching for these universities. And I found a website which had a list of all the different tennis coaches in these different schools. So I started literally just crafting emails and sending these coaches emails saying, hey, my name's Oliver, I'd love to play tennis at you, please watch this video. And let me tell you, the first bunches of responses were not positive at all. I even had some people say, are you crazy?
Like just one of your
I have the emails, I can show them to you. What are you thinking? This video is terrible. Who made this? The comments went on and on. But some of the coaches actually gave me some constructive criticism. They're like, we're not going to take you on a scholarship, but here's our advice. Maybe say this and that and that. So I took all of the info I could get, and I kept recrafting my email. And I think I sent about 5,000 emails in 6 months. I almost quit. And one night at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's like 700 emails a month.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a mission and a vision, and I wasn't even counting the numbers. And
It's just amazing. No, for real, the persistence.
Thank you.
Because I want people to hear that.
Persistence pays.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings. I answer the phone.
It's like on 5,000 and God knows what number email, right?
And answer the phone, and it's an American accent, and it's like, "Hi, this is Coach Santhin," and I'm like, hold, give me a sec. Can you speak? I'm like, I literally took the phone. I'm like, just wait a sec. I'm like, yes, I'm available. How can I help, Coach? And an hour later, long story short, he said to me, "I love your video. I saw it. I think you have some good strokes." And an hour later, he said, "Oliver, pack your bags. You're on a full scholarship to the USA." And I literally erupted in emotion. My parents ran in thinking I was dying or something, I'm like, "I'm going to the USA, I'm going." And they were like, "You crazy kid, go back to bed."
You must have been dreaming.
Yeah, they thought I was nuts. Nothing new, right? And then in the morning, they realized it was a reality. And that was the beginning of the rest of my life.
I tell you. So let's fast forward. You're in the US, something that's like almost impossible because 5,000 emails in 6 months. Dude, that's like epic by all definitions. The number of people that would quit at email number 50, I can't even begin to explain. Now, there you are. So you get into the US. What's the journey from that into these professional speakers, coaches, and strategy and marketing? How did that happen?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'd like to just tie in the lesson from that story is that getting that scholarship was a huge win for me mentally because it helped me to realize that, the ultimate resource is not money. It's not the background, the school you went to, who your parents are. None of that counts because I literally managed to get that scholarship despite all of those odds. So the ultimate resource is resourcefulness. That's the ultimate resource.
Just repeat that because somebody has
the ultimate resource, it's not who your parents are, how much money you have. It's none of fill in the blank. The ultimate resource is resourcefulness. And I think having that one win in my life set me up for the rest of my life, especially as an entrepreneur.
Mindset, just the whole thing, paradigm, everything just
shifted.
Recalibrated.
Yes. So I had this huge belief in myself and in my ability to manifest and make things happen.
Correct.
So when I went to America, I got there. I had a really tough time. I'll be honest. It was tough adjusting to the environment. Especially being, in a school where I was the only South African there, so the culture that, and we grow up generally speaking, in a quite comfortable type of South Africans, the parents and coming from a middle class family, I had to adjust, but the growth was incredible. You only grow outside of your comfort zone.
True.
Right? And if you only knew what a comfort zone is, you'd be too ready to jump out.
Yeah.
But too many people don't realize there's nothing that happens in a comfort zone.
No, it doesn't.
So the growth there was amazing over the 4 years that I played college tennis. And then, I'll never forget the same thing happened. I'd finished college tennis, but something in me said, you know what, maybe try take this to another level. And a friend of mine said, well, why don't you call a pro tennis player, someone in the US that could maybe help you to take that next step? And I thought, well, who's a pro that I know that's got a lot of influence? And somebody said, well, who's the best South African tennis player right now in the US? And I said, well, Johan Krick, he won 2 Grand Slams. And said, well, why don't you give him a ring? And I found his number. I gave the guy a call while I was in the gym one day, and I just said, hey, my name's Oliver. You don't know me. I'm at a college here in New Orleans, and I really would like an expert's opinion on whether or not you think I could give the game a shot at the highest level. And he literally said to me, he's like, you know what? If you can get here, if you can figure out a way to rock up at my academy, He's like, I'll take a look at you and I'll give you my honest opinion. And literally that was the invitation.
So,
that was enough for me.
Now tell me, how far was this from where you were?
Oh, jeez, it was a long drive, probably, I think, 11-hour drive, something like that. I had no money. Again, I sold everything that I had to buy an old beaten up secondhand car, which I bought from one of the guys on my tennis team. Little did I know this car had problems with it. He promised me it was a great car, which was absolute BS. Anyway, some friends. Yeah, some friends.
Some friends indeed.
Yeah, and you know, I had my first love, you know, so I had to leave that. It was tough. And I got in this beaten up Honda, and let's just say about halfway there, not even, maybe 4 hours outside of New Orleans, the car breaks down. And let's just say the car couldn't go more than about 20 kilometers an hour, otherwise it wouldn't move. It couldn't. So it took me about 10 hours to do the 4-hour trip to get back to New Orleans at 20 k's an hour, getting hooted at all the time to get back to you know, try get this car fixed. You know, then I saw a mechanic. He said, you know, it's just the radiator. They changed the radiator. Went back. Won't believe it. The next day, actually broke down about 7 hours there. Luckily, by God's grace, you know, I had a Christian sort of family that saw me on the side of the road. They took me in. I told them, I said, I have no money. The guy was a mechanic. Can you believe it?
Providence at work.
Providence at work. I'm a huge believer that, you know, if you trust and you follow your heart, you know, the universe will conspire to just work with you.
Did you build it?
Yeah, and he fixed the car and he said, listen, don't worry, you just get yourself to North Carolina and you can pay me when you make the money in future. And I said, thank you so much. I got in the car and drove through, and you won't believe this. This is true story on my life. Literally, as I was driving into the driveway of the house that I was staying at in North Carolina, the car broke down and rolled into the driveway. I literally just sat in the car and I just started screaming. I'm like, yes, you know. And just it was amazing. I just knew that there was a higher power that was over, you know, seeing the whole journey. And I thought, what are the chances? I mean, think about it. What are the chances this car breaks down as I'm rolling into the driveway? Like, so that was awesome. Yeah.
That's an amazing story. I love that part. So this guy sees you playing, and what is it?
Yeah, so actually, as luck would have it, I go through for my first sort of hit, and Nike's they're busy doing sort of a session with Johan, and Johan's like, you know, just come get on the court right now while they're making this video. So I was as nervous as could be, shaking like a rattlesnake, and but I just you know, just try to stay calm, breathe, and I actually hit pretty well. And yeah, that led to sort of an 8-month sort of relationship and training. I got to hit literally in the mornings with the Grand Slam champion, get coached by him, mentored by him, trained by him. Yes, 100%. He actually said to me, tennis is 90% mental. 90%. You know, I thought it was maybe 70%. I knew it was a seriously mental game, but when he told me 90%, I was like, that's amazing. So it just shows you guys that it translates to life, you know. Everything from your financial mindset to anything you achieve in life, you know, has got to do with the mindset you have around that specific area, you know.
It's literally the science of getting rich, eh?
Yeah, Science of Getting Rich.
Wattles.
Yeah, Wallace D. Wattles, phenomenal book. I would recommend that to anyone, as well as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there you are. So you do this, and then you really go far with this tennis, right?
Yeah, so I got so lucky at one point. One Spanish guy was seeing me hit, and he came on. He said he loved my serve, and he invited me to Spain. So I got to train in Madrid, you know, a little bit, and they invited me to lunch with Manolo Santana, who was the former Grand Slam champion. So I got to sit in the royal box at the Madrid Masters, you know, meet all the players. I actually saw Kevin Anderson, who's a local South African, in the players' lounge. Got to see it. He's like, Ollie, what are you doing now, you know? So I just said hi, and just incredible. I got to stand in the tunnel with Andy Murray when he was going on court and sit in the royal box. I mean, it was just a beautiful experience, you know, as well as playing at the Futures level, which is, you know, an entry level to the tour. And just traveling and seeing the world, it was an amazing experience.
And this, what age was that?
Probably 2012, 13, so around 24.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So to transition from tennis into all this high level, professional speaking, how did
Yeah.
that happen?
So basically, like I said, I realized that the sport was so mental that led me on a journey to master the mind.
Correct.
I'd got to a point with my body and with my strokes that I thought like to get much better there was not going to give me as much of an impact as the mind, because the mind's 90%, right? So I thought, let me develop a solid mindset. And then I started reading books, firstly books on tennis, but then that led me to books on, the power of the mind, the law of attraction, which a lot of you I'm sure have heard on. Thoughts are things, people. Thoughts are things. It's not even a question anymore. There's technology now which actually can measure a thought. You can measure a thought. A thought is a thing, and then I started delving into the area of personal development, self-development, and I was so inspired because I realized that, that everyone has this potential within them. And I realized I've had such an amazing time, like manifesting my dreams and my goals and stuff. But I thought, what is it if I die with that inside me without sharing that, like letting people awaken to the greatness which lies within them, And then I realized my real sort of purpose in life and my gift was to help people to realize the light in them. The moment that they can see the greatness within them, that gives me so much joy. I mean, just thinking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps. And I think when you get those, I call them truth bumps, you're onto something. And that led me down that path of self-development, self-discovery. I came back to South Africa. I started going to seminar after seminar while my friends were out partying and drinking. I was learning like a sponge, taking notes. I was the most voracious note taker in the room wherever I was. The first person there, last person to leave. Again, I treated the self-development side the same way I treated the tennis, and yeah, I started associating and hanging out with, trying my best to hang out with people that were more successful than me.
Correct.
The fastest way you can change your life is to upgrade your peer group.
True.
You hang out with 4 broke people, you're going to be the 5th. You hang out with 5, positive, outgoing, successful people financially, you're going to become the 5th. So, you want to make sure that you're very conscious about who you're spending time with. And, what I did is I actually went to this big guru's business coaches seminar in South Africa. And one of his key strategists, who's in his inside circle, played tennis. So I said to myself, well, I can't add value here financially, but I can add value in another way through my tennis.
Correct.
And that's another lesson there is if you don't have the money, remember resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. To find another way where you have a skill that you can offer it.
Correct.
And I said to him, listen, do you want to play some tennis? And he said, of course. And I whooped up on him and he loved it. And here's the key. I didn't do it with an underlying agenda.
Yeah.
I
You
did
were literally
just giving. I was just giving. I was happy to just add value because I knew by being around this very successful businessman, I was going to learn about business, about life, about things. So we would have conversations. He would take me for dinners. I enjoyed the fine wines, and I would give him tennis lessons. And that's how the relationship started. And about 6 months into our friendship, he one day called me and he said, Oliver, do you want to come and have a shot at being, doing the sales for our event? And it was a big event. There was some South African billionaires that were present. There were Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, was there. So there was some big speakers there. And I was like, geez, I've never sold anything in my life. I'm a tennis player, for God's sake. Yeah. So he said to me, trust me, just give it a shot. I said, I don't even have a suit. He said, just wear, she's like, make a plan. So I took my matric dance suit, literally, which hardly fitted me. And I rocked up at this event. And I said, well, here I am, what do I do now? And the business coach saw me and he said, who the hell is this kid? And, my friend at the time said, no, this is the guy who's going to do the sales. And the business coach said, hell no, he's not. Literally told me to take my suit top off, put on a security guard t-shirt. So I walked around as his security guard for the whole day. People were like, weren't you in a suit earlier? And it was very embarrassing. But let me tell you, I was just watching how he operates. You know, he's in rooms with these very successful business people having interviews, and because I was a security guard, I was always there.
Yes.
I mean, I was no security guard. You know what I mean?
You were security.
Yeah. So I was standing there and just listening and learning and being like, this is amazing. You know, I wanted to take my phone out.
How he's doing the closing.
Yeah, and talking, and I mean,
process.
meetings with Steve, like the co-founder of Apple, stuff like this, like getting to hear these guys speak and their mindset. It was beautiful, and I just learned, and then the next day I rocked up, security guard again, unfortunately, and at about 4 p.m. in the afternoon, I realized that there was no way they were going to get through the leads, and they had a team of about 5 sales guys that were sitting one-on-one with the different prospects, and I just said, listen, to the sales manager, I said to him, listen, your guys are never going to get through that lead pack. I said, just give me even the bottom half of what's left over, and just give me a shot. You have nothing to lose. These guys aren't even going to get to them,
Yeah.
So he said, cool. So he gave me the opportunity. I didn't even get pitched. I had about a 30-second pre-frame on how to sell the program from my friend. He said, this is what it is. This is how much it costs. It's $10,000 for the entry-level pack. Who's going to buy that? That's what I was thinking. Like, this is crazy. Like, I would never pay for this. Like, come on. Like, who's going to buy this? But anyway, he said, trust me, Ollie, just go in there and good luck.
Do your pitch.
Good luck, And I sat down with the guy for about an hour, sat with 2-3 people, and I don't know how I did it. Don't even ask me, but I did about $70,000 in sales in a few hours. And they were rounding up the sales, and sort of like the sales guy was tallying all the sales, busy going through them. He's like, X, this amount, this guy, this amount, this guy, this amount. And then he gets to my name and he's like, Oliver, who the hell is this kid? And then Charlie was like, told you. My business friend of mine, he's like, told you. And
so you're going to hold that. We're
So-
going to come back to you because we're going to just quickly get the news done. And then after that, we're coming right back. So don't go away, all of you. This guy has got an amazing story because you're going to hear how he transitions into a 7-figure income earner. So let's push this over back to my sister, who will be in a moment. So take it over, my brother.
Zambia, thank you for an amazing 50 years. Here's to another 50
Nice
years
one.
of providing
I don't-
great
it's
hospitality
different speaking
and
with the
creating
headphones
a
on.
hotel guest
It sounds
love.
better.
Are you comfortable with the headphones?
Yeah.
For reservations, email reservations@lusaka.com.
How are you? Good.
Intercontinental Hotel Lusaka, celebrating 50 years with you. Come to Carnival and Creation Furnishers Red Dot Sale, where you can get
Hey guys,
discounts of up
just
to
show you the
50% off. Between
studio
now
here.
and 25th of March, rush to any Carnival and Creation Furnishers outlet nationwide to enjoy a discount of up to 50% off selected items in the Red Dot Sale. T's and C's apply.
The Hot FM News headlines
Yeah,
every
good.
30 minutes. Your number one for news and entertainment. Get the latest local and international.
Good vibes only. I like that.
Right here, right there.
Good evening, the news headlines at 19 hours. Zambia is making steady progress in building capacity in the local system to manage nuclear energy, the Radiation Protection Authority has said. The 63rd United Nations Commission on the Status of Women has officially opened in New York, with Zambia making a clarion call on the need for governments to break the gender stereotypes and exclusions which have in many countries left women on the fringes of global economic and social progression. The University Teaching Hospital's Women and Newborn Hospital has delivered a set of conjoined twins who share a heart and liver. And in international news, President Donald Trump's declaration of an emergency on the US-Mexico border looks likely to be dealt a blow by dissident Republican senators. And in sports, clubs are the foundation of national teams, says former FIFA Development Officer for Southern Africa, Ashford Mamelodi. And the airlines. You can join me for the main news at 20 hours.
You made us number one for news and entertainment.
Thank you.
So easy. Everybody wanna know why I fall in love with you. But I tell them, say you are made from real fruit. Right now you come and then you make me feel so cool.
I think they killed
I'm
this
feeling
song. Huh?
happy cause I'm sipping on you.
I mean, it was a good idea to have the guy turn one of his hit songs into an advert. But I never looked at the song the same way after this. Yeah, because we like playing it on radio, you feel like you're playing an advert when you're playing the song, yeah. But it was clever, it was a very good
The
idea.
amazing Appy range of Appy Apple, Appy Grapple,
I know.
and Appy Pie.
Yeah, change
Have an Appy Day.
You ready now? Congo, Moyang, Congo, Siga, Bazani, Shiganzi, Apongo, Matua, City, I say when you're at, City, I say when you're at, you make a Shiganzi. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, Mago Shiganzi. Ooh, Lavago, Shiganzi. Kunzuna, Luji, Golago, Maturo, Imango Funa Shiganzi, Lanana Bagulo, Timaleli, Moziberi, Shiganzi, Congo, Moyang. Congo, Siga, Bazani, Shiganzi, Apongo, Matua, Salamuniza, Police, Avenue, Bandi, Shiganzi, City, I say when you're at, City, I say when you're at, you make a Shiganzi. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, Mago Shiganzi. Shiganzi.
Let's look at the new lineup. Coach has replaced Ronaldo with Bonaldo, his cheaper cousin, and Bale has been replaced with not as good a player, Christian Bale.
Never expect to win if you don't have the genuine team. When it comes to genuine car parts, Maro Auto Spares are the genuine people to visit. Another own goal from Ronaldo. Look worthy vacate. Maro Auto Spares are specialists for spares on all major car brands, including Toyota, Mazda, Isuzu, Nissan, BMW, and Benz. Visit our Montgomery branch along Chilamburu Road from 7:30 hours until 2200 hours daily. You can also pop into our Challenge branch. Maro Auto Spares, the genuine team with genuine parts for genuine results.
Radio After 6.
And you are live on Prosperity Insights. It's now 19:04. You're just listening to the headlines with the news in detail coming up at 20 hours. Be sure to join us. Rev?
Yeah, man. So we pick it up with Oliver. We can't just we just have to just dive right in. Because you were talking about the fact that you did those sales and somebody said, see, I told you, this kid, pick it from there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they were tallying up sort of the sales for the day, and I don't know how on earth I did it. I still don't know. I actually just listened more than anything. I think that's the secret, let people talk. I got a bit lucky maybe. I actually had outsold their whole team of professional salespeople.
But I think the mind thing worked for you.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at your background and whatever it was.
Yeah, so...
And that came to play there.
Yeah, so I had... who knows, combination of factors came into play, and he literally said, Oliver, pack your bags. You're on a plane to Holland, Singapore, Belgium, Malaysia, Zurich, Switzerland, and doing a tour pretty much. I was just like, yes sir. And
And that's how you were thrust into this world of high level, like literally high level sales for top level coaching programs.
Yeah, so yeah,
personal development.
100% like high level coaching programs for entrepreneurs, how to expand their businesses, etc. So that was incredible. The next 8 months I spent traveling the world as an international business strategist. And it started off obviously with doing what I was doing, sitting with people around the world, consulting them on how they can expand their businesses. And like you said, I think because I had the mindset and I'd also read a lot of books and things, and I did have a business degree too, so I had enough knowledge combined with my sort of sporting background and from the psychology and things.
the discipline.
Yeah, so those things I actually, you know, managed to do quite well, and went from but like I said, you know, didn't have the mindset yet around the wealth. So I went from earning a measly income, you know, not a lot of money as a tennis player, to earning a lot of money as a business strategist. And then I realized very quickly, you know, I need to start working on my mindset here around finances, entrepreneurship, business. I got to spend time with, I met Sylvester Stallone, Al Pacino, like I said, Steve Wozniak. I got to just share the stage with some incredible people, but like I said, more importantly, travel the world with very, so to speak, enlightened entrepreneurs, people that were very conscious around business and things. So I just listened, you know.
And the language is just different. It's not a lie when they say that these people just speak different, think different, and see different, isn't it?
100%, you know, there's formal education and then there's informal education. And school teaches you how to, you know, I hate to say it, but not really to think creatively. You know,
but to think in a structured, systematic way.
In a systematic way, so that you can plug into, you know, maybe the corporate world. Exactly. Yeah, you can call that. Let's not get too deep here. You know, but basically the informal education, if I can inspire anyone on this call to explore, is really what you want to be looking at, because, you know, that is how entrepreneurs think. They understand that, you know, they can create. You know, one of my favorite quotes by Steve Jobs, he says, you know, the world we live in was created by people no smarter than you. So you can choose to live in their world or you can create your own. I thought that was beautiful. You know, visionary there, you know, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work a 9 to 5, you know, and I actually went at one point also, I skipped part of my story before I actually got this whole job or this career as a business strategist, traveling the world, earning this incredible income. Before that, I actually did go for one interview as a financial advisor. I gave in at one point. I thought, you know, while I was back with my in South Africa after the tennis, my dad said, you know, just go for an interview. Come on, you know, you need a job. You can't live in the house without paying rent. What the hell you do? You know, so I went. I just, you know, I said, what the hell? Let me try it. Went for an interview as a financial advisor at Liberty Life. A lot of people know the company.
Yes, they do the insurance.
Yeah, and I got an offer, you know, and I'll never forget. They gave me a booklet like this thick, and I thought to myself, like, I've just gone through school and university. Now you want me to study this? And then the guy's like, yeah, and you'll get a fraction of the commission because I have to help you, you know, learn the process. I thought to myself, how long is it going to actually take me to reach financial freedom? Because I wanted to have a lifestyle, you know, not just an income living paycheck to paycheck, which is what most people have, you know. So I remember driving home on the highway, and I'll never forget it. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I just saw this road, this one piece of tarmac, and I thought, geez, am I going to be on this road every morning and every evening, driving to work and back, basically 2-3 hours of my life every day of the week for the next 40 years? Is that what life's about when God created so many rooms? You know, am I meant to spend all that time in just one of them? And I thought, hell no. And I phoned the guy literally the day, not even an hour after leaving the interview and accepting the position, and saying, you know, I hate to say this, thank you, but no thank you. And I said, I'll give you a ring in a year, and if you really want, I can employ you. And I put,
you told me that?
Yeah, in a nice way, as nice as it could. That was, you know, and the lesson there again is like all of these stories. When I look back, you know, they say when you look back, you can connect the dots. You know, and I look back at it now, and I think, geez, you know what? If I had gone for safety and taken that job, you know, if I had gone for security, you know, and taken that job, I would be sitting right now in an office, right, having gossip sessions at the water cooler and earning just enough income to get by. You know, earning just enough income to get by, probably hating my boss, you know, and traveling and sticking on that highway. But because I embraced the unknown, I took the path less traveled. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, "What the amount of uncertainty that you can comfortably embrace in your life is directly proportional to how much success you will achieve."
I love that.
Right, directly. So I definitely took the path of uncertainty.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going to happen. You know, I went home and I was watching tennis on TV, lying on the couch for like a few days. And, you know, guess what? The universe brought an opportunity. Then one of my dad's friends came in and he said, listen, there's a seminar. Do you want to come and watch. You know, you want to come watch the speaker. And something inside of me said, just go listen. And that was when I was introduced to the whole concept of this thing called entrepreneurship, where you can actually create your own economy, you know, your own income. You don't have to have a boss. And then this whole concept of your thoughts actually become things, and you can create your life. And I was addicted, you know, because this was like, wow, this is exactly what I've been reading in these books all these years. And, you know, so I just became a student, man. And, you know,
soaked it up.
Yeah, and like I said, I told you how I met my friend and added value through the tennis, and then managed to get into the organization and just travel the world and then spend time with these people, learning, continuously just learning from people that were, you know, more successful in all the different areas of life.
So, how then did you now leave that to get into the personal franchise model, which is really where you are now, where you've literally gone into the 7-figure income?
Yeah, so basically what was happening is they were flying me around the world to the point where I was literally going to all of these countries, but I was going from the airport to the hotel, back to the airport to the next city, to the hotel. It was crazy. I was stressed. I was earning a good income, but what I realized is I didn't have time freedom, you know. So I was making all this money, but I didn't have this time. And sometimes I was doing literally, I'm not even kidding, I was doing Joburg, Malaysia, Singapore, all in 1 week. 2 legs, 4 international flights. Can you imagine how crazy that is with the jet lag at the time? So I literally had no social life. I wasn't eating healthy because of all the travel. I was jet lagged. I was making this money. I was always indoors. I wasn't getting the sunshine. So you can imagine.
So you were getting pale.
Yeah, so and I just realized this is not a life that I want to live long term, you know. And I started thinking about starting my own business, but then I realized, you know, to start your own business is a mission, and it's serious work. And not only is it serious work, 90% plus of businesses that actually fail within the first in the first 5 years. And here's the thing: the ones that succeed, people are like, oh no, they succeeded. No, they glorified employees. They're tied to their business. So I thought,
leave, can't do anything. They're always there 24/7, home, on the phone, checking the business, following up.
Yeah, so a lot of these business owners are more stressed than employees. And they make money, but again, they don't have time
to even spend money.
Yes, so very few businesses actually reach a point where they systemize, where they can work on the business independent of their input. Then they
scale out.
Yeah. And now I thought, okay, now what are the chances of me getting a business like that? And I thought, well, even a smaller percentage. Yeah. Very unlikely. Yeah. So I thought no.
I mean, the one that succeeds out of the 100, now if you're going to go into how many scale out.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God.
So
it's like point, 0, whatever.
And, you know, I wanted to travel the world and earn a phenomenal income and most importantly, help other people do the same. Yeah. But I wanted to become a 6-figure earner, you know, at least in 2 to 5 years. And I knew in a business that was going to take a lot longer.
Yeah, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Like for real, like real.
Yeah, so I started doing...
Apple stories, those are like exceptional.
Yeah, they
like
won.
0.0000.
Yeah, there's thousands of failures for every one success story, yeah. So I was actually at another event and I saw this one speaker to this day who's one of my favorite mentors, Peter Sage. Yeah, used to be a master trainer for Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins. You might have heard of him, most successful coach ever. So he was basically a prodigy of Tony. And he had spoken on stage with Clinton, Richard Branson, great guy, involved in solar space technologies, like just an awesome entrepreneur, being on Dragon's Den, and I was just privileged to actually get mentored directly by him. And again, I went up to him and I said, how can I offer value with my skills as a business strategist? Let me help you bring your training and your course to South Africa in exchange for mentorship, you know? And that's what I did. And a lot of people would have taken the money. I just took the mentorship initially. I learned from him. He changed my philosophy and outlook on life. You know, your inner world creates your outer world. So he absolutely shifted, helping me to explain and understand the levels of consciousness and, you know, that we're energetic.
The law of correspondence. Huh?
Yeah, so just the fact, you know, I don't want to get too deep into energy and our nature and as divine beings, but let me tell you have unlimited potential. And he helped me to realize just how powerful I am. And then about 6 months into our relationship, he actually called me and he said, hey, Oliver, you know, actually I was in his hotel. I remember now, I was in Sandton in his hotel. I went to drop off a printer for an event we were having. And as I was leaving, I overheard him on a conference call on Skype and the guy said this word of the name of the company that we're involved with, right? And I said, is that company that's involved in, you know, this type of industry? And I'm like, but is that a real thing? You know, do business guys, entrepreneurs like you even look at those types of businesses? And he said, yes. You know, he said one of the most credible industries. It's a $200 billion industry, you know, endorsed by Robert Kiyosaki, Richard Branson, Warren Buffett says it's the best investment he's ever made, cash on cash return, you know, so this is a serious industry. And he said to me, why don't you have a look? You know, he went to meet the owners of the company. We did our research, as a good entrepreneur always should. We found out it had a phenomenal foundation, you know, and it really was a market and an industry which is growing, which is expanding.
Very
So the timing was right. You know, the economic climate's right for this business model, you know, and I realized that my skill set would fit in perfectly as well into what would needed to be done to build the business.
Correct.
So I believe it found me. That was synchronicity.
At work.
Yeah, at work. And just again, my heart was just like I followed the tennis. My heart said, this is what you need to do.
Just like you went to that entrepreneurship talk after sitting watching TV.
100%. Yeah, the heart can feel faster than the mind can think. Listen to it. It knows. You know, and just jumped on it. And I went full steam ahead, and within a matter of just 2 years, I became the #1 earner in that company in all of Africa and Middle East. Built a network of thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs, helped transform, more importantly, lives of people that were stuck in corporates working 9 to 5, that now have time freedom, that can spend time with their kids, you know, that they can actually, you know, see those most precious years, they can travel, you know, and more importantly, they can also earn an income, you know, which they can then use to pursue their own dreams.
Amazing. So there you have it, guys. We've got to take those calls because, you know, and then we'll be telling you about, you know, we had an event on Tuesday, and the event was absolutely packed to the rafters. We had to bring chairs from outside the venue. We squeezed chairs everywhere we could squeeze chairs. It was ridiculous. I mean, the speaker was literally speaking in the middle of people, but it was amazing. And so what happened is the numbers were so high that we just had to, you know, turn away some people, which was quite sad. We had people travel from outside town. We had people from as far as Ndola, Kitwe, Kabwe, and Lusaka itself, Choma, Mazabuka. So it was really amazing. And so we have had to do another event, which we have this Saturday. So first and foremost, what I want to do is allow people, because I'm sure there's a good number of people out there that would like to just ask questions, as we always allow here on Prosperity Insight. So we're going to take 5 calls in a row. Are we doing mingle tennis as well?
Yes, why not?
Okay.
Why not?
So we're gonna do, 4 calls. Okay, you decide. So let's just do.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
Whichever comes first. So just check entertainment. There's nothing yet. But if you want to call us on using our phone line, it's 0974 870 877 or 0967 877 447. So if you've got a question to ask, anything, okay, just give us a call, and I'm sure our Rev and our guest will be able to respond. 0974 870 877 or 0967 877 447. If you're on Mingotainment, take advantage of the live post section. So the live post section will allow you to send voice notes as well as text messages, but for now, we'd rather stick to the text messages. It's easy that way to censor. You're through to Prosperity Insights. Hello? Hello, good evening, sir. How are you? Okay, thank you. Your name, please? Mokoka Ref.
Mokoka, please. Question, comment, contribution, but thanks for coming through. Oh, my church. Wow, what a question. All right, so I'll let you know just afterwards. Church for Walter. Okay, sir. Now we'll definitely give you information afterwards. Thanks for coming through. Okay, so let's continue taking those calls.
All right, 0974 870 877 or 0967 877 447. Our guest in the studio is Oliver. You're through to Prosperity Insights. Hello. Good evening to you, sir. How are you? Okay, thanks. Your name, please? Abraham, go ahead. Okay.
Okay, so is this MLN? Okay, great question. All right, so we'll definitely have them answer that. Great stuff, great stuff. Okay, so we continue taking those calls.
Yes, we're still taking your calls. So that was Abraham. More calls coming through 0974 870 877 or 0967 877 447. 0967 877 447. Let me see if we've got any question or anything on Bigotainment. Nothing. 0974 870 877 or 0967 877 447.
Okay, so let's get into the questions meantime as we wait for those calls to come. And anytime it comes, just interact.
Okay.
So Abraham asks, I'm going to answer you, Mokoko, at the end. Don't worry. So Abraham,
There's another call.
let's take the call. Let's take the call. We need 5.
Yeah. Prosperity Insights, hello? Oh,
Oh,
we lost that call. I don't know how that happened. Try again.
Yes.
Probably not your fault.
no,
Yep.
it's not.
Technology does fail us once in a while.
Yes, especially from certain metrics.
Don't go there.
No comment.
No comment.
Okay, so Abraham asks, is this multi-level marketing?
Yeah, so the first thing I want to say is most people, before I actually need to explain what it is, because, you know, a word is just a label.
I agree.
And it actually points you in a direction. And the thing is that the word can
Sorry,
mean...
Oliver,
Okay,
may
okay.
I
sorry.
ask you to hold that
Yeah,
thought?
yeah.
Just hold that thought. Let's pick up this call. You through to Prosperity Insights. Hello? Good evening, sir. How are you? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so who are we speaking to? Huh?
Hidden.
Oh, hidden. Okay, so please go ahead with your question, comment, or contribution. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so in which area? Because there are many books. In which area? Enterprise? Okay, entrepreneur. All right, fine. All right, so thanks for coming through, Hidden. All right. Let's take 2 more calls.
All right. Just in case you're not too familiar with the numbers, 0974 870 877 or 0967 877 447. Trying as much as possible to be slow.
Okay, so meantime, continue with that, that line of thought you were just coming word.
Yes, so a word is a label, so it can mean something different to everyone. Everyone has their own understanding of what a
So
word
it's
means.
Perception.
100%. So let me start, let me actually give you what it is, right? So basically you have different methods of distribution. You have retail, which means you have a product which is created and sold to the end consumer, which is marked up, you know, immeasurably, right,
Yes,
in the middle.
10, 15 times.
Yeah, exactly. So right, then you have direct sales, which is when you actually go and you, so to speak, door to door and sell a product, which is not what we do either. You know, you have pyramid marketing. A lot of people are listening. Pyramid marketing is illegal. That's outlawed in the US. That's when somebody has a concept and they actually bring people into a system, but there's no tangible product.
Yeah.
So they're making money for building this, so to speak, network, but there's actually nothing that's really being moved in between. You know, so there has to be a physical, tangible product to create what's called a network marketing business. Now, network marketing is an incredible form of free enterprise, which is now over a $200 billion industry, right? As I said, business leaders, Robert Kiyosaki, you might have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, he talks about how he's a huge fan of this industry, and it is the best way for somebody who's stuck in a 9-to-5 to get out of the rat race, he calls it. You know,
It's a 2 to 5 year retirement.
exactly, it's a 2 to 5 year retirement strategy. Here's the key: it has none of the risk, but all of the upside.
Correct.
That's the thing, and it is the best school, as Robert will tell you,
Yeah.
for entrepreneurship, because you can make all of the mistakes without any of the
Risk and
consequences.
cost. Yeah, the consequences. from a
Exactly.
cost standpoint.
So, you know, they're even introducing network marketing now as a course in Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
You know, it is a very well known method of business now, creating more self-made millionaires, and you need to listen to that, than almost any industry in the world. 82% of all female entrepreneurs in the USA that are earning over $100,000 a year are doing it through a home-based business, right? And in the next 10 years, more people will get involved in the home-based business or network marketing industry than in the last 100 years.
And what's even more interesting, just adding to that, Oliver, is the fact that this is so, is what we say personal franchise, because the franchise model is another model that is very respectable. It has been adopted at so many levels by so many people in so many spaces, because again, it's a very similar thing, but with, you know, with network marketing it's less money, with franchise usually tends to be much more capital outlay.
Exactly.
But the risk is again very minimal, because you plug into something that's established,
Yes.
solid, brand name, systems, leadership, training, experience, you know, you name it, they have it.
100%.
Yeah, so you're not going into something where you're going to be, like you correctly said, you know, when you sat down and thought and said, okay, how long do I need to build my own business? What are the chances of that business succeeding? And you realize that it's not going to succeed. So you just didn't want to go that way, because it wasn't going to make sense.
Yeah, exactly. This is a great platform, as I've said, for an entrepreneur to start his journey. And if you're wondering about a company, what's a good company, my advice to you is go to the Direct Selling Association website and make sure it's a company that's registered with them, because then you know that it's definitely been inspected.
Ethical.
Yes, it's ethical. It's 100% like actually it's been looked at, and everything's in order. You know that it's a legitimate network marketing company.
In fact, Abram, just sort of like to add on real quick before he answers Hidden's question. One of the things we're doing in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be doing a special show, a rant, and this is going to be a rant on Ponzi's. So obviously when you do a rant on Ponzi's, you get to talk about network marketing, because they've been blurred so much, because a lot of the Ponzi's are being presented like genuine MLM companies, and that's also muddying the water. Yet MLM is a very genuine, powerful business model, endorsed by some of the greatest, richest men alive today. So it's very, very credible. Hidden is asking, which books? You said you read all of them. So just give him an idea. Top one.
Okay, so here's the thing, and you have to think deeper.
Yeah.
So what is business? You know, on a surface level, it's exchange of products, services. If you go deeper, business is actually people, because without people, you don't have business. So I learned very early in my life, if I was going to be a good businessman, I needed to master people. Master people, you'll be good at business. So on that front, I would say, and it's still to this day a classic, despite how old, yes. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Phenomenal book. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You know, there's so many principles in there that if you can just start to implement, you will naturally find doors opening for you. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, classic. Got to watch it. Wallace D. Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich, same sort of concept. You know, let me think.
How about My Millionaire Mind?
Yeah, T. Harv Eker, Millionaire Mind, great stuff. Again, you know, I was very heavily influenced through Peter's content. So you can YouTube him, find some of his stuff. Tony Robbins stuff is great. You can't go wrong. You know,
The Power Within. I found that course very liberating mentally.
Yes.
You know, The Power Within. It's a bit of a long one, but absolutely worth every moment you're gonna spend.
Yeah, and then you know, don't be afraid to get into books which actually are talking about the power of thought. You know, there's a book in South Africa locally created by John Kehoe called Mindset. It's a great introduction to what I call the law of attraction. You know, once you want to get deeper into it, there's books like Power versus Force by Hawkins, which actually goes into the map of consciousness, and it's incredible. That's getting to a much higher level. You know, but there's many books out there. If you just go to a good bookstore, go to the personal development section. You know, don't go to the fiction section.
No.
That's what too many people do.
I mean, a couple of years ago, of course, everybody knows The Secret was huge, but The Secret really was gleaning stuff off the law of attraction, the law of magnetism, you know, all these bits and pieces
Yeah.
that were in all the
Yeah.
books you've mentioned.
He has-
and just package it together.
Yeah, The Secret, Rhonda Byrne, is a great introduction to the law of attraction. It's so to speak, but it's fundamentals.
shallow.
Yeah, and the thing is, the secret behind the secret that was never told is actually that, you know, you need to know what your highest values are. Because if you know intrinsically what you value, you know, you don't need motivation
No.
to wake up in the morning and do what you love.
Yeah.
Right? So you can tell by what you're doing if you're feeling inspired, if you're not actually tired, if you don't hate what you're doing, if you're struggling to focus, then it's not in your highest values.
Yeah.
What you find easy to do, what brings you joy, what you naturally think about all of the time is already actually, so to speak, what you value. So the secret behind the secret is actually understanding that you need to get very clear on your values. And you know, a great mentor of mine who has a free value assessment online is John DeMartini. So you just Google John DeMartini's website, go there and click on values assessment. It's free. Do that, and that will give you more clarity around your hierarchy of values.
Correct.
You know, and another way to tell what you value is, look, where do you spend most of your time? Where do you spend most of your money? You know, these are signs. What is in your environment? You know, these are signs of what you value.
Absolutely. Well, you know, every good thing has to end. So, Oliver, just we almost forgot. We need to talk about Saturday.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my goodness. So tell them about Saturday, and then I'll run my numbers so that people can send messages.
So Saturday I'm going to be sharing my story, guys. Pretty much what you've heard on this radio station, but all the key nuggets as well, and tips and tricks that you can actually use to apply in your life. And I'm also going to be talking about how you guys can actually, you know, if you would like to, tap into 100%, which is the most lucrative home-based business model in the world right now, right? Company that's won awards alongside Google, AT&T, you know, it's Apple. We hit $1 billion in 6 years. That's the same time frame as a Facebook. Incredible. Currently, $5 billion company, 50 plus countries now. So
Inc. 5,000.
Yeah, Inc. 500. Yeah. So basically, you have the opportunity to learn how you could literally leverage off the same platform that's actually helped me to, you know, travel the world, inspire, influence people, change my life not only financially, but like I said, more importantly, the greatest gift in life is not actually seeing yourself succeed and having the things, but seeing that you made a difference in the life of somebody else. You can't put a price on it. It's, you know, having somebody come up to you in gratitude saying, thank you, you've changed my life, thanks to you. You know, I can spend more time with my kids. I can, you know, it's amazing. And that's why I do this business, because I know the power it has to transform people's lives. So I hope to see you guys there. And stay amazing.
All right, so to ensure that you do not miss this, we are on Saturday, Mulungushi International Conference Center, 10 hours sharp. This place is going to be packed. So if you come at 10:45 Zambian time, well, I think you'll have a problem with seats. So please, but what you need to do is, we are not allowing anybody, unless you have sent your details. You need to send your full names, first name, last name, and say that I am interested in being part of the event on Saturday with Oliver, yada, yada, yada. So my number is 0977 117629. I will repeat. My number is 0977 117629. You can SMS me, you can WhatsApp me. Those of you who know, the internet, you can go on my website, revwalter.com, and you will find all my links, all my social media links, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. And you can message and say, I'm interested. But you know what? The fastest response is WhatsApp and SMS.
Don't call.
Please don't call.
Don't call.
Yeah.
And I have to say, we just said don't call.
Call. Chizungu.
Text.
SMS, and then get through, and we look for a Dexter. Don't call.
And I must say, thanks. You invited me for...
Indeed, Fresh. We were so humble to see you.
For that meeting, that was on Tuesday, Youth Day.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of things that, especially Oliver. Yeah. I mean, there were so many amazing speakers. Oliver, of course, was like the, in entertainment circles, you'd say he was the...
icing on the cake.
The icing on the cake. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
one of those things that really, and I took it down, you know, I put a little note. I realized that most of the time, especially like, you know, on Youth Day, it was quite very appropriate, I must say. Because on Youth Day, all you hear, people were just complaining, especially youths, just complaining. The government is not doing this, the government is not doing that. Now, there's one thing that you said, Oliver, and I wish a lot of youths would actually take this seriously. Your income is directly related to your philosophy, not the economy. That one just hit me.
It was the takeaway.
That was my takeaway.
Dude.
It hit me. Because sometimes you look around you say the economy is bad, there are no jobs, hey, business is bad, and so on and so on. You're just complaining. But what is your philosophy?
Yeah. I mean, dude, this man's a machine, huh? So you know what, guys, if you want to be, you do. And you know what, sorry, I mean, we've already gone past time. We've been waved by everybody, including the dog. But I want to say something very, very important that I think for me has been great. I'm in the studio with my good friend and colleague, Franklin Mokakanga, who's a great, great colleague. We're working together. Those on Mingatemi, you can see him there sitting all chilled in the background with the Rastas doing the peace sign.
Yeah, man.
There you go. So one of the most interesting things that I must say, like I've been so touched, is we've been working with Oliver. We've got something called the Project 10,000 we've been running for a while now. So those of you who are going to run the number again, you know we've been pushing this around. We're helping launch 10,000 enterprises in the next, couple of months. One of the most amazing things, we've been with Oliver since Monday. And this man has not rested. He has been literally hands-on, working with different people every single day. Hands-on. That means literally sitting with you and saying, all right, this is what you need to do. When you're trying to do this, this is how you do that. And this is how this gets done. And it's been transformative. There's been so much that has happened in these few days. So I am actually saying to everybody out there, you don't want to miss this. You want to send me a message, be part of something powerful. Mentorship is one of the greatest ways in which many of us can see success, because then we shortcut our learning curve. And so be part of what we're doing. Saturday it's on. My number for the last time, 0977 or 0977 11 7629. Message me, SMS me, let's get you on that event. Make sure you send your full name, say I want to be part of that Saturday event, so that we register you on our register, because we've got people coming from all over the place and it's going to be full to the brim. We only have 250 seats. I wish we could get something bigger, but this is money coming out of Oliver's pocket, so yeah. So we got to keep this thing as economic as possible. So please come through and let's see you then.
Interesting question from Kingsley. Kingsley Chenga. On Mingotainment, it says, where would the next meeting be and how much is entry?
No fee.
No fee. Kingsley,
no.
just send your name
Yeah.
to Reverend Waters' number by text and say, I'm interested, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I'm interested in your full names.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to see you. We will make sure we can coordinate with my good brother Franklin Mokakanga in the background. We'll coordinate. Oliver's going to be there, and he's still going to be there 1 or 2 days after Saturday, because he had to extend this because obviously Tuesday was something else. So you can just let people come and then go like that. So out of the goodness of his magnanimous heart, he stayed on till Saturday.
Thank you, brother.
We're looking forward. So Oliver, last word.
Ooh, this is one of the most profound teachings I got from again, one of my mentors. You are already that which you seek.
That's deep.
That's deep, bro. That's deep.
Meditate on that.
Absolutely. So there you have it. You are precisely what you seek. Everything that you dream about and who you see yourself on the inside, you already are. Somebody asked me about church. I'm closing. This is my rant to go. I don't run a church. I don't have a church. I belong to a church. The church I belong to, Sunday by Sunday, is Potter's House Church in Libala. I am not a leader at that church. I don't stand on the pulpit on Sunday to preach at that church. I am just a member at that church. My ministry is what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing to help people, work with them outside the walls of the church. I am what we call, no, I don't call that. I learned this. I am what we call a marketplace apostle. So in many ways, I am sent out there to go and be an impact, like what Oliver is doing, out there changing lives in a practical way through the realm of finances and personal development. So that's what I do. But for church, that's why I go to church. I preach from time to time in different churches, but at my church, I don't run the church. So I just have to clarify that so people know that.
All right, great stuff. All right then, so that's Prosperity Insights for today. Or Kingsley, the venue is actually Mongushi International Conference Center, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so
send your name.
send your name. Yeah, send your name. All right then, it's been great. Looking forward to next week.
Yes, next week we have Anko Chilamba.
Yeah.
He's my mentor, so
Yeah.
looking forward.
All right, Oliver, awesome stuff.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right then, so that's Prosperity Insights for this